Hey everybody, Nick here, and today we're going to do another disassembly. This time we're going to look at this little guy here, the Boker Exskelibur. So the Excalibur is a pretty interesting knife, and I'm just going to jump on into it here. It's got a lot of really good stuff to it. Watch for the full review here coming up soon. Okay, I believe the pivot here is a Torx T8. Yes, indeed it is. Pull that out, and these little screws here are not T8 at all. I am going to place my bet on a Torx T7. Not quite. Boker is actually one of few companies that will regularly include tools for disassembly, like a little Allen wrench with the proper bits on either end. And that's a beautiful thing. Yep, T7. I'm sorry, D6. D6. So I appreciate that. Now, right now, the blade pivot is loose, so I've got a very conscious hold on the blade back here, knowing that it'll be falling out at some point here, depending on how quickly the pivot removes itself. Come on. Here we go. Got that drop free. Let the backspacer fall out. I guess it's friction in there. Okay, now at this point I'm going to use my driver bit to pop the pivot through. I guess no, I am not. Okay, in that case I'm going to take a slightly different tack here. Move the blade here and just lift off the titanium scale. There we go. Oh, interesting. So the action on this guy is pretty compellingly good as a front flipper, even though it's just on Teflon washers, which is impressive to me. This is one of the first times I've really liked the action on a Teflon washer knife. Okay, so I've decided that this pivot is either fixed or it's close enough that I don't want to mess with it. But either way, pop this out, grab my little spring bar tool. One of the joys that it has is a little flat end here that I can use to get up under this Teflon washer. I really could have sworn this guy was on bearings. Either way, kind of impressed. So I'm going to use my little paper towel here. This isn't a particularly dirty knife. It's a loaner from my buddy Jim, who takes good care of his gear. But, every knife's got a little gunk to get rid of. And honestly, I wanted to crack this guy open and see what's inside. This is a little disturbing, I will say. You can see here that there's a pretty severe wear mark on the inside of the titanium. Either maybe somebody was buffing it out and accidentally left it against the buffer. I don't really know what's going on there, but whatever it is, it's a little on the ugly side. That said, at the end of the day, it doesn't actually affect the action on the knife, or it doesn't affect, frankly, anything. It's just a little ugly on the inside, and that's the kind of thing I can forgive. Tool marks on the inside of your knife, especially on a smaller production sort of model, I'm not going to be too bent out of shape about. Even though I am a big fan of getting bent out of shape about details. Because, is it really better for them to completely scrap this part because of a little kind of thing like that that doesn't affect the functionality? No, it's not. So, there it is. Gives this particular knife a little bit of extra character, right? That's what I'm going to sell myself. Alright, making sure the lock bar face is clean here. And, well, believe it or not, we are ready to reassemble. God, that was easy. This is going to be the first knife I have disassembled after a long series of Benchmade Axis lock knives. And Benchmade Axis locks are just a royal pain in the neck to disassemble. There is absolutely... Whoa there! Holy crap, that's a lot of nano oil. So you can see here that some little bit of something had gotten kind of locked up into my nano oil tube and had been clogging it. And my nano oil tube has been clogged for a little while now. But that little red something got up in there and finally got loose, which is good. But, oh boy, I put down a lot of nano oil. So, not a big problem. Now that that's cleared off, oh yeah, that's better flow. And since I put too big of a drop, I'm just going to let the washer distribute the rest of it. And I'm going to use my little oiler here to spin, spin, spin. There we go. And dab up a little bit of the rest, because that's more than enough. Put a drip here, and a little bit there. Beautiful. Oh, pick that up. And then a little bit onto your central pivot there. And I suppose a bit onto the detent ball. I'm running this guy very wet, but that's okay. Actually, I'm just going to remove a little tiny bit there. Drop this in. Bam. At this point, I'm going to move the blade very slightly and put in the stop pin. I'm moving the blade slightly because, obviously, the stop pin, the blade rests against that stop pin. So it's hard to seat it properly with the blade fully locked open. There's that. On this side, I'm going to put a little bit of oil down. I'm going to drop a washer on there. I'm still kind of blown away, honestly, that this is running on Teflon. It's one of the smoother knives on Teflon I've had that pleasure of experiencing, so that's kind of cool. Okay. Now my concern here is that I got these loose backspaces. There you go. It's that ticket. And, you know, once I put this guy on there, it'll be a little harder to position those. But the problem is that the screws for the backspaces go in the top here. So I'm gonna try and do this. I'm gonna try and have it both ways here. Oh, come on, you little bugger. First, let me confirm real quick that the screws for the backspacer are the same length. Yep, they are. Good. I'm gonna drop the backspacer screws in here. Or at least I'm gonna do my damnedest to. There we go. Drop that. And drop that. At least. And try. And these do not screw onto the screws. No, they just sit there. So if I pull this off, I'm going to be a wizard. Otherwise, well, whatever. Hey, that actually seems to have worked reasonably. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, since I've already got this driver on here, I'm going to put a little tiny bit of a twist into this guy to at least get the screw seated. I'm going to do that again over here. That way those backspaces are going to stay in. There's still some looseness on this side of the knife, and that's good, because I'm going to need that. Now I'm going to make sure that my stop pin is able to seat. Okay, yeah, stop pin is seated. That's beautiful. I'm going to put... Oh, that's scaring me a little. I'm going to put this guy... Give it a little more twist here, a little more twist here. So I know everything is in alignment. Now... Ah, damn. Bit stuck in the driver again. I am going to grab my T8 driver here. Put that away. And I am actually going to Loctite this just a little bit so I can get the action dialed in as I want it. Come on, Loctite. This tube is getting to the end of its life. Come on. That'll do. And I'm just applying it to the inside of the screw here. Perfect. Oh. Not the most dexterous individual. Okay, pivot is in. So now what I'm going to do is just gradually button everything down. Start off by kind of getting the pivot to a place where it's pretty tight. And here we go. Tighten the back spaces down the rest of the way here. They're good to go. Now we just got to dial the pivot in a little bit. And, of course, pop that out. Pivot's a little too tight right now. Let's back it off of here. Oh, yeah. Let's see if I can dial it back slightly more. No blade play. On Teflon, it's not going to fall shut. Man, if this guy was running on bearings, oh boy. But you know, that's just fine for me. Action-wise, there's no blade play at all. It's solid, centered, just nice. So, yeah, actually, that's the entire disassembly of your Boker Exskelibur. This is a nice knife to disassemble, I'll say that very much. There are no loose pivot, I'm sorry, there are no loose, like, IKBS balls or anything like that. No nasty surprises inside there, really. It's just 2 slabs of titanium, 2 washers, and a blade. I will not argue with that any day of the week. So, there is your disassembly for your Boker Exskelibur I. I'm not going to bother disassembling the 2 because it's basically the same idea minus the front flipper, and because it's a piece of junk that I'm not recommending. So there you go. That's the Exskelibur I. Hope this has been interesting for you, and have yourselves a wonderful rest of your day. I love a front flipper. Oh man. Bye now.